to the video series of the Guiding Principles on Internal Displacement, Why and How They Matter. I'm Cecilia Jimenez-Damary, the UN Special Rapporteur on the Human Rights of Internally Displaced Persons. In the previous video, we discussed Principle 28 on the duty of states in the Section 5 on principles relating to return, resettlement, and reintegration. In this video, we will look at the next principle, Principle 29, on returned and resettled IDPs. Please have a copy of the guiding principles with you. What does Principle 29 say? It starts with paragraph 1, which provides internally displaced persons who have returned to their homes or places of habitual residence or who have resettled in another part of the country shall not be discriminated against as a result of their having been displaced. They shall have the right to participate fully and equally in public affairs at all levels and have equal access to public services. Internally displaced persons, therefore, who have returned, locally integrated, or settled elsewhere in the country should not be discriminated in any way on the basis that they have been previously displaced. This is a continuation of the obligation to eliminate discrimination, as we had already discussed. As a basic principle in the attainment of durable solutions, this is essential so that internal displacement can be considered as having ended. The right to non-discrimination in durable solutions based on human rights and humanitarian law is further elaborated in the IASC, Interagency Standing Committee, Framework on Durable Solutions for IDPs, which we will further discuss in the next video. Moreover, this right has been recognized in several peace agreements that touched on solutions for internally displaced persons as one of the conditions for peace. Paragraph 2. Competent authorities have the duty and responsibility to assist returned and/or resettled internally displaced persons to recover, to the extent possible, their property and possessions, which they left behind or were dispossessed of upon their displacement. When recovery of such property and possessions is not possible, competent authorities shall provide or assist these persons in obtaining appropriate compensation or another form of just reparation. As we had discussed in the section on protection during displacement, the right to property is particularly important to IDPs, as the loss of property is one of the inevitable consequences of being forcibly displaced. The right to property is therefore as relevant, if not more, in durable solutions for IDPs because the recuperation of IDP property is essential in having a normal life. However, should this not be possible, the issues of restitution or compensation or reparation as a means of redress becomes imperative. Human rights instruments point to this tendency to affirm the right to restitution, compensation, or reparation, including in the principles on housing and property restitution for refugees and displaced persons, also called the Pinheiro Principles. State practice on the same is further developing as evidenced by several court decisions and administrative bodies being set up by various governments to compensate for loss of IDP property. In transitional justice context, the basic principles and guidelines on the right to remedy and reparation for victims of gross violations of international human rights law and serious violations of international humanitarian law is very relevant. You may find these issues further elaborated in my respective thematic reports as follows: 2017 report to the General Assembly on Transitional Justice in the Context of Internal Displacement, and lately, 2021 report to the UN Human Rights Council on housing, land, and property. Thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and in the next video, we will have a short introduction to the IASC framework on durable solutions for IDPs, so be sure to download a copy of that in time for the video. See you!